Well, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox, here on the show this evening. It's the two salty brothers, Jaffer and Bridgeman. How we doing, boys?
Evening, Ox. How you doing? Hiya, Bridge. How you doing, mate?
How can I just say a big good evening to yourself, Ox, here, and to the techie boys in the background, and of course to Jaffer, my buddy, my Benny. What do you call it again? Was it where has he lived again?
Benoni.
My Benoni, brother. Absolutely. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world that are listening in here, good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio.
See, old Fox is into the crisps again. He's just getting a packet of shake now, Bridge, yeah?
A packet of shake. Rock salt, of course.
No, no salt. No, just a packet of shake. Anyway, how are you, Jaffer?
Good, pal. All right. Yep. A lot to talk about. Obviously, a lot going on at the club, so I'm sure we'll digest it as the show goes on. I'm fine, thanks.
Good, mate. Good. How are you, Bridgeman?
I'm brilliant, pal. Good tonight. Looking forward to this. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Jaffer, we've heard from me, Bridge, and everybody else, so we might as well, me and Bridge might as well go for a kip for 10 minutes and let you get it off your chest about Sunday.
Yeah. Gutted, Ox, to be honest with you.
Right, thanks for that, Jaffer. We'll move on.
just poor, mate. Just all round disappointment, lacklustre. I mean, just spineless Spineless performance in my opinion. They were there for the taking. We just couldn't muster a performance together. End of the season can't come quick enough for me, Ox, to be perfectly honest with you. It's really just there's quite a lot of personnel in the team, and I'm not going to get into naming names because I don't believe in that, and it's just not me as a person. Just get rid of them, let them move on. Let's get some fresh blood in. We need desire in there, Ox, and we need just will to win. Guys that want to play for the jersey, all those kind of all those sayings that we all use, different ones depending on the human being, but we need all of that back in the team, and we need guys that want to win trophies. I just don't think we've got enough winners in the team, and I think that's been proved now for a few seasons, Ox. And I think we really want to. We need to get back to that. And when we're signing guys, I think that should be up at the top of the list. We want winners, guys that have won stuff. If they've not won it, they've been in and around winning things, and in the recent sort of last season or two. That would be one of my mantras anyway for who we're moving forward and the kind of players that we're going to be signing.
I think that's difficult in some respects because obviously there's only so many teams win competitions at any note, but you just want the right mixture, the right blend, Bridgeman, and to bulk you the right team. And at the moment, there's a bit missing in our ingredient. Personally, I think it's a wee bit of salt, Bridge, but that's just me.
You need to be choice with your salt, of course. I like Jaffer's right as well. We've got people in our team, and we spoke about it over the last couple of nights here. Obviously, there's a need in our team, or a need for our club to bring in players that will, shall we say, play similar to what our great teams have played in the past. And great players, with some tremendous players. And how you can match them, I don't know. But certainly, I'd go back. I've said it for years. Go back to the basics and get yourself some really tough people. I mean, tough people that are willing to go and do whatever's needed to be done and go and start from there if you want. As long as they can play football, of course,
Aye.
But, you're looking for people to do it.
You need to be clever in the modern game, Jaffer, as well as I get Bridges' point. You want people who are robust, hard, ball winners, desire, but you need to be clever as well. The game's moved on a bit, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, Ox. Aye, and obviously there always is that part of element. You need a luck as well when you're signing players, because with the best will in the world, you might sit them down and know them and scout them, and you can scout them for months, and you think you know the individual you're getting, and things happen, things change, especially if you're bringing people from different countries. And then there's always the ones that you never expect to become the kind of stars that they become over the years. But yeah, that's the job of the manager, isn't it? Ultimately, to blend that together, that mixture. Whether he recruits for the the academy or guys that are on the periphery. He sees something in a player and gets them into a position, or whether it's going out and picking somebody up that's maybe lost their way a wee bit, maybe like a Todd Cantwell type character, in the hope that he's going to, resurrect his career in the blue jersey and really want to actually. I mean, I know he's won a couple of championships with Norwich, but and he's played in the Premier League, and there's no doubt the guy's got ability, but it's blending that into your team, and that's the tricky bit, isn't it?
Bridge, your best players don't make your best team because you'd have never get a game. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of truth in what you say, of course. Of course. No, I think that we've all played in teams where some of the guys on the boot you were absolute stars, and at the end of the day, sorry.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? They were absolute stars, and you wonder when you see them later on how they've never actually turned professional or something like that. You know, so obviously a lot of our great players. They obviously didn't have what it takes to go and up through the professional ranks. They're good players, but better, really good players in our teams, but they just never quite made it, And I think there's a lot of that goes on, to be honest. But I think we Rangers, I'm talking about Rangers and only Rangers, we need to watch out for ourselves at all times. The failures of multiple players in the same game not turning up or being well below par, call it what you like, that needs to stop.
Yeah, same question to you, Jaffa. You need your best players don't make your best team. It's getting that blend and getting that blend of character as well.
Yeah, again, Ox. I mean, that's when you find that's brilliant. When you find that in your team. And we've been close to it. I mean, I think Gerrard was quite close to that, where he had a real mixture of individuals, and then he went out and signed Kent, and that was the kind of the sprinkling of glitter on top of it. For a good 18 months, 24 months, Ryan Kent was on top of his game, but he's lost his way, for whatever reason. And then you think back to even different eras, Oxway, our team. I mean, a guy I'm sure we all probably didn't know much about, but after a while you soon knew about him. Guys like George Alberts, nobody really knew of him when we signed him, but we plucked him out of German football. I know he had a good career and he had a good CV. He was playing at Hamburg, but I mean he achieved most of his real footballing time was at Ibrox. So getting that blend is that's the down to the manager again, Ox. That's when you put the trust in the manager that he's got a plan and a vision. And we've got to hope that Michael Beale, because it's still early days in his tenure, we've got to hope that Michael Beale is that guy that he can really also, pull it off himself, but not only just for him, but for Rangers. And if he does, Michael Beale will be immortal, especially if he overcomes what's been going on in the last, 12, 14 months, especially in the SPFL.
Aye. I don't know what's more important. Football to me is, there is a lot of your attitude. I think it's 90% attitude and 10% ability. And we've got a boy that's going to leave our club, and he's not going to go out the front door. And I don't mean to be nasty when I say that, or it looks as if he's going to leave as the boy Ryan Kent. The boy's got ability, but what we're seeing too often that he's also got an attitude that's he works for the team, but there's an ingredient missing. There's just an ingredient missing to drive him on and that desire. Or we wouldn't have kept him if we had that other ingredient. And obviously, in a lot of people's eyes, he's down tools, Jaffa. So what's more important, the character or the ability, in your opinion?
The character. The character of the individual is more important than the ability for me, Ox. You've got to have, obviously, to get in the front door of your club, or for our club to even scout you, a club of our size, and the demands that we have, our support and the size, the sheer global size and reach of our club. For a Rangers scout to come and watch you, any scout at any level, you've got to have something about you, even from youth academy right up to signing for the first team. you've got to already have demonstrated that you've probably got that ability, but the character at that point when you come to sign for a club our size it moves on to the character, to the individual, and can that character grow within a club our size, and can it be nurtured, or can it explode in a club our size, where that will to win and that adulation you'll get for our fan base if you go into the park and absolutely put 110% in. And you can already see from guys like Cantwell and Raskin, who are, I mean, Raskin maybe to a lesser degree, but Cantwell certainly has got that desire. And it's up to us to build players around about him that also have that same desire and a will to win. But the character for me...
Watch them try to chase that boy out of Scottish football, mate. Watch them try to do a job on him.
Well, they always do.
Yes. Watch them getting booked every week, yeah. Obviously, some of the odd ones deserved. We know that. We've seen silly things he's done, yeah. Getting booked every week when other players are getting booked, and then watch what they try and do. We can see right through them, Bridgeman, can't we?
Yeah, I think, to be perfectly honest with you, I've said this a number of times. Ryan Kent is the most unprotected player in Scottish football, and that's for the referees as well. He's an easy book. He's an easy yellow card, because when he goes in, he's not shall we say, a skillful tackler or anything like that. So it's a bit raw when he goes in. He doesn't do that much damage to players. He's only a wee slim guy, you know. But my God, they didn't have to take some punishment. And one of the things about that, as you say, they track him in 3 at a time and take turns booting him. And I think that's a sad indictment. We at Rangers have allowed that to happen through our bad times. And I remember at Alloa, there were some smashing plays. We were out at Alloa and some of our players got kicked off the park. Literally kicked off the park. And we did nothing about it as a club. And I did nothing about it as a group of players. I always reckon that whenever Ryan Kent got kicked, booted to the ground, there should have been 4 or 5 Rangers players right in there and shoving the Celtic players all over the place, whomever they may be. That's what we should be doing. Shoving them, telling them who we are.
Bridgeman, how did you go onto that for
Todd
Cantwell?
Sorry. I think Todd Cantwell, apologies. I love talking about Ryan Kent. So Todd Cantwell's a smashing wee player, and yeah, what you said about him getting booked, he's going to get booked a lot. And any player that comes up to Rangers is going to get booked a lot, particularly when we're playing against them. But Cantwell's a smashing player. He's just got to cool it down a wee bit. He's going in, I've noticed a couple of times going in with his boots just a wee bit high. Not too dangerous, but yeah, that's the kind of things. You get continuous fouls given against you. Mm-hmm. And referees up here don't like Rangers.
Yeah. What do you think, Jaffa? Do you think I'm being fair? We can see what they're going to try and do. The media are going to do a job on. They're going to pick them every negative, yeah, because we know the boy's got ability. I.e., think about it. At the start of his career, Ryan Jack was getting a hard time because he was influential and he was getting sent off, and some of them have been rescinded. Same thing happened to Alfredo Morelos. Some of them rescinded. All right, some of them due. And then the thing he done on that boy, bordering on racism. Some of the comments that was made about Alfredo Morelos. And you can see it coming again with the boy Todd Cantwell. We can see right through it, Jaffa.
Well, Ox, there's been that only... All of what you've said there only is an echo chamber of exactly where we sit just right now in Scottish football. And we've spoken about it many times on here, and without running away off at a tangent with it, it's the dark arts, as I like to call it. And we know who's in control of the dark arts and who's got control of the rule book. And that's just the way it's been for some time now. We've got to, but I always see things like that personally, and I hope the people at the club see things like that, Ox, as a challenge, because you've got to then find a way around about that. You've got to find a navigate, get clever. I don't know. Do we change the way we play? Do we, rather than playing this football rolling it out for the back, why don't we just go back to a 4-4-2? Does Michael Beale might be considering that? A lot of us advocate that. We say, why do we not just go back to the 4-4-2? Stop all this prancing about with rolling the ball with the back and potentially losing goals, which we often have done this season. And especially when you're not particularly good at it. And let's not be kidding about Ox. Whether it be personnel or injuries, we've not been very good at that because we've been caught out with it. you know, earlier in the season with Barisic getting caught at Parkhead with it. So I think all of that has to be taken into account. But going back to your point about the narrative and what's with the Todd Cantwell, he moved a bag at the weekend in the semi-final of the game because one of their players wanted to take a drink of water. The oldest trick in the book. I mean, personally, I remember doing that myself. I wouldn't let the opposition get access to your liquids and your water if the trainer come on. Why should you? That's giving them an advantage. And the media have ran with it, and they've been highlighting it, and they've been putting the picture up and every other red top throughout the week. So it is what it is, Ox. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be for us until we get a change at the SFA or whatever, you know, or the SPFL, until we get a change of personnel, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon.
We have to get in there because we're dominating, mate, and we're the driving force. We are the biggest club, we're the highest ranked team in Europe, but we have to drive standards and be the best team. And obviously, you're judged in every country in your league campaign, yeah. So we've got an aim and we've got a cause. We have to go for it. And it's all in. Everybody, all in. Support everybody. This is the time. You know, you need to keep them back to the well, Jaffa.
Yeah, and that's very true, Ox. If the support play a massive role in that, the fan base, you know, buying season tickets, funding the club, and continually putting what money that we all put in as fans into the club, and that responsibility does lie on us, because without us, you can't. The guys that you put in the office bearers we put in charge, we can't allow them the tools in to go on and and drive those standards as you've just mentioned there. But we've got to lead for the front, in my opinion, and that's why I always take that as a challenge, and as a challenge thrown down to us as a club. We know what's going on, Hawks. Every single one of the fans knows what's going on. Now, you know, the guys within the boardroom of our club, if you spoke to them privately, I'm sure would tell you exactly the same, have the same conversation we're having right now. They would know. We all know what's going on. The dark arts, call it what you want, before we start making anything up here. You know, I'm not going to name anything or anybody, but we all know what's happening within the referees department, whether it be controlling VAR, who's getting assigned to games. We can all see the transparency, the media involved, who's controlling the media, who's got the microphone, you know, all of that. But we've got to take that as the challenge, and we've got to overcome that. And that's, for me, that's where we are right now as a club. All of us, every single one of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. We get these phone lines open, Bridgeman?
Well, go for it, buddy. Go for it.
All right. Yeah. Let's hear from these.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
You know, come and join us. Give your thoughts on what's happening at the club. I don't know where we went there. But the changes at the club, Jaffa, and the employees, apart from Douglas, who's left us, yeah. It looks as if you like, the new board that's going to be formed or forming, or the people that's already there, want to rip it up and start again. If I'm being honest with you, things have happened at quite a pace, yeah.
Yeah, and I suspect, Ox, this has obviously been in plans, you know, for some time. But yep, it looks like John Bennett has got his own way of wanting to do it. He doesn't seem to be wasting any time. I know he's been having meetings, and what I've read on, you know, on social media and online, he's been having meetings with all sorts of different groups and people and investors and such like. So, yep, he obviously has a plan, Ox. That's a good thing, of course. He's a very driven individual. You know, I only from what I don't know John Bennett, I'm only looking from the outside in, from the interviews that he's given in his business life. He looks like a highly successful businessman. He knows what he wants to do, and I think that's a good thing. Personally, Ox, I think that's what's been needing to be done. I think there's a bit of apathy set in within the boardroom and the way the club's been getting run. And I don't think that's probably partly what's came back to cause the kind of issues that's been happening behind the scenes and some of the things we've got involved in. So from that perspective, I'm all for that. You know, let's, you know, if he's changing it, let's do the whole lot. Let's change it.
Bridgeman?
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. The things you were talking, Jaffa was mentioning about the dark arts and things like that. It's all there, as you say. It's as clear as a day, and it knows in your face. I think I said it right. I'm watching that, and all of a sudden, the referee's not playing. He's injured, and all of a sudden, he can't be a deputy. So they bring in another deputy. All of them just don't like Rangers and hardly ever get a decision out of them. So I felt that to the very start of the game that it wasn't going to go away.
In Sunday Bridge, it wasn't the official that caused that goal, and it wasn't the official that missed one for 4 yards, mate. We've only got ourselves to blame.
But all through the game, Don Robertson very rarely ever gives a serious decision to Rangers. Sometimes it's there, black and white, and everybody can see, and it's a fault to Rangers. Other than that, he doesn't do them. He just lets it play on. That's what he does. So I've been watching him for years, and I think I'm very disappointed he was a referee. Very disappointed.
I don't think he influenced that game at all on Sunday, if I'm being honest, Jaffa.
No, I don't think I don't think there was anything too contentious. There was a couple of the odd wee fouls from what I saw. But as Ox said, Bridge, and I'm sure you would agree with this. I mean, the goal that we lost was.
No. I mean, not to do with referee.
How many of our players made an error in that goal? You could probably go as high as 5 or 6 players just didn't do their job properly, and then the chance that we missed, or chances, or the lack of people getting inside the box to actually score a goal for us it's not just that game. It's been happening for a number. All season we've been games at Ibrox where we went up 1-0 and then Motherwell equalised and we would go up the park and score in the 84th minute. We've just not been at it at all. The team look tired. I don't know what it is that's with them. We know there's people moving on. It's been a difficult season, and that's probably one way of describing it as an understatement, isn't it? It's been a difficult season. It's been a hard watch, that's for sure.
They're no up to our Rangers players, and we see it all the time now. They're no with it. Ryan Kent gave a foul away, and there was a bit of controversy about the foul, where they're going to take it, and so on and so forth. Eventually they took it, but they took it quite quickly, and we weren't ready. We weren't ready for that free kick. And why we weren't ready, I don't know. Why was nobody standing in front of McGregor?
Bad attitude, Bridge.
Shocking, just shocking. And we just no alert.
Do the hard yards. Anyway, 1-0 to the Bearettes, Jaffa. 1-0 to the Bearettes.
Oh, brilliant. Yes. Good stuff.
Oh, yes, we like that.
Yeah. Good. Can we do me a wee lift me up?
Yes, and well, obviously, other news broke today off the park. Obviously, we're looking for a couple of guys. That new ticketing role, I think I know a guy who can do that. Yeah. And there's one with Mr. Ramsey coming into the club. I think we've got somebody who would volunteer to taste his food.
Oh, you like a big spoon. We've got a man in there that would taste his grub for him. No bother. No bother.
Yes.
What kind of pies do you reckon he would do?
Gordon?
Aye. No, Gordon. That Big Stevie would approve of.
I think it would be simple. Well, I wasn't going to mention Big Stevie, but since you have, I'll leave it to you.
Brilliant.
Aye, so things are moving quite rapidly, if I'm being honest, Jaffa. I didn't see this coming. When Donald Park left, I thought things there would be a bit of time and no, but obviously maybe some of the plans were already made. Maybe we were thinking, well, all these things were decided, and Donald was maybe party as well. We don't know, and we'll no find out unless we get told. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably say that your latter comment, Ox, is probably the truth there. I mean, for things like that to happen, we especially with the chairman stepping down, I'm quite sure that would have been something that's probably been planned either last year knowing full well that he was going to step down. I don't think it would have been something that happened knee-jerk, unless, of course, there's maybe other issues at play. But I don't think that's the case, and I suspect Ox, the rest of them, especially as the season unfolded with Giovanni when he left and so forth. No doubt, when John Bennett knew he was taking over, I'm quite sure conversations were probably sat down and open conversation discussed. In the case of Stuart Robertson, Ross Wilson, and I think in general, Ox, if you're John Bennett coming in and you want your own team in there and your own board of directors in there running the club for you, and the way you want it to be run, then I'm all for John Bennett doing what he's doing, because the way it was being left to run at this moment in time, it wasn't performing correctly, was it?
No, just to let you know, I've had a text from Big Steve. He says Ramsey's an amateur when it comes to pies. They must be pucker or desperate, Dan.
On yourself, big man.
He's no wrong there with 8 pucker pies. They're serious business, them.
Oh dear. Oh, a big man. What a sense of humour he's got. He's probably took a doing last night for CC. It was funny. Right, okay. The chairman's role. It's not something we used to think was that important, but as you see how the club's developing, that everything seems to motivate Dunphy there. Eh? He drives, he pushes, he prods, and he'll be putting the right people in place. Big job ahead of John Bennett and his team. Jaffa, Ben Bridge.
Yeah, it is a big job, Ox, because he's got to. I mean, he'll know himself. I mean, I know he's at the head of a big organisation himself. So, I mean, he's been around running businesses at that level for some time in his business life. But football clubs, as we know, Ox, are different animals altogether. But one thing is the same as getting the numbers right and getting the right people in and the funding that's needed for the manager. And for me, that's the critical part of it, Ox. If we're serious about what we're, what's needing done in the actual dressing room area of the team, which is that's the critical part. We all know that. The rest all feeds down to that. And if John Bennett gets the funding right for Michael Beale and allows him to go out and spend, and I know we can have this conversation. I know we've spoken, some guys on here on the show in the past have said we need to spend 20 million. That opens up a debate. Why do we need to spend 20 million? I don't think we do, but he needs to be given enough resources, Ox, financial resources, to allow him to go out and sign the correct players. And that for me is the critical part, and that I'm sure is John Bennett's number one priority. It's got to be. We've got up quite a lot of personnel to replace in the close season, whether it be guys on frees or whether we're eye on some younger talent, but there's got to be the right talent. And I'm hoping Michael Beals and John Bennett have had those conversations, and that part of it's well underway as well, Ox.
Aye. Interesting times, Bridge.
Yeah, I agree with quite a lot of what Jaffa said there. Obviously, I'm hoping that Beale is what I think he is, and he is a quality coach. But he's got to, the weight on him must be tremendous from above. And from above, it's starting to clear out now. They're doing what they're doing, and he has to do his bit at his level, start to clear out there as well. And you end up with whatever you end up with. The difficulty is, of course, we need to win. We've got another 5 games to play, and we want to win them all if possible. So he needs to keep or use some of the stars that he's got there now and let their contracts run out or whatever they're going to do. There are a number of them there that'll be, shall we say, people will be very angry if they ever get back into their team. But Beale might have to ride that out. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm hoping that Beale is what I think he is, and I hope everybody supports him. And the board, whomever the board they're putting in there, they need to get cash, or whatever cash they can, and support the manager with the money for the transfer window. But I'm no a great spend a lot of cash type of person.
Oh, I know that.
Well, I'm not. I know. I don't. I don't want Rangers to ever be skint. I think the last time we were skint, which is only 2 years ago, to all intents and purposes, I don't want to be in that position where somebody's going to have to step in before we even kick a ball. Somebody's going to have to step in and back us with money. I know it's going to happen. We will get back and so on and so forth. But I'd rather be there sitting with the club's been run very, very well, and the monies that we're getting in can run the club, and that's what I want. And whatever we can do, sort of transfers and so on and so forth, we can cope with that. I just don't like being. I'm feared in case we end up where we were before. That's what I'm fearing.
I know you're also feared of spending money. I've been out with you, Jack.
Yeah, I listen. Everything Bridge was saying there, I echo totally. I mean, it's a critical time, Ox. That can't be denied. I mean, there's a lot going on and changes happening, and obviously that brings a bit of anxiety to the support, because obviously you're changing. Even though we know it wasn't working with the case of Ross Wilson and the whole director, sporting director role that he had, and Stuart Robertson as well came in for his own, criticism, and quite rightly, a lot of the times it was justified criticism with the way things were happening behind the scenes at the club. So all of that seems to be getting ripped up. And as you said, it'd be interesting to see the guys that he's going to bring in to do those roles and who they are and where they're coming from. Because obviously we still, I don't know necessarily if we're going to go down the sporting director role. I know Michael Beale's come out and said he can do that part of the job. If that's fine, fair enough. But we certainly need administrators within the club. And obviously we know the fella Dixon's left as well, or is planning to leave at the end of the season. And no doubt there'll be other secondary members of staff that maybe support them that will be leaving as well. So there will be a lot of changes, a lot of personnel changes. But obviously, going back to what Bridge was chatting about there and what I was saying before, the most important part in all of that is getting the dressing room right, innit? And getting the right players in.
Aye.
That's the critical bit.
Aye, a fair comment, because, you can have all the nice lounges in the world, and the appetite to go there, no pun intended, is driven more if the team's doing well. That's fact, isn't it?
Yeah.
100%, yeah. 100% on that.
We're loyal, but we're also flat at the moment, and we need a pickup. And I think there'll be new players coming in the door, yeah. And the manager's going to be new judged in his team, and I think his team's going to evolve quicker than any thought it would come last Christmas, if I'm being honest, Bridge.
Yeah. The manager has got people in his mind, I'm sure, and he knows what he wants. Some of the players that he's got now will bolster everything that's going on, but the manager's got to be able to do and be given the freedom to do it by both the fans in general and the board. Just let's go on and let's get a bit of trust built in, and hopefully we can build that wee bit of trust getting up to the end of the season as well, because this is vitally important to us as well. We can't just go through the last 5 games, and I think I've heard Southside saying this as well. Can't just go through the last 5 games of this season and no bothering whether we win or not. We need to win. We need to show we're Rangers. We're Rangers every week, and we should be showing we're Rangers every week. And this is a very, very important. But yeah, the manager, absolutely critical. The playing side, more unbelievable. Don't know what we would do without them, so we need to get it right. Sorry, Jaffa. Did everyone okay with you, Jaffa?
Yeah. You come, Jaffa.
No, absolutely, Bridge. That part of what's going to go on in the next coming weeks is the critical part, and I totally agree with what Ox was saying there. The club's flat at the moment, completely flat, in every single department, and there's a whiff of a dark cloud lying over the top here, and we need to just stand up. And these next 5 games, you're right, it should be the start of it. Not could be the start of it, it should be the start of it. But it comes back down to the same personnel. That's the problem we've got right now. Because in my opinion, I think there's too many guys in that team that know how to lose too easily. And that's why I said at the outset, there isn't enough winners in it. And we need guys that want to absolutely fight, that have got the fight in their belly. And there's it's just, for me, there's too many guys in there that are going through the emotions. I mean, there was earlier on there, I was reading about Ryan Kent. Apparently he's agreed a deal with Fenerbahce. I said this a number of weeks ago, Ox, and I think all of us would have probably have said similar on the show. This Ryan Kent playing for Glasgow Rangers in the same vein as Alfredo Morelos. They'll never play for a bigger football club than the club they currently play for. It's going to Turkey to Fenerbahce. Good luck with that one. You'll be lucky to get your wages every week.
Oh, there's people with history there, and culture, But listen, I think if we're being honest, if everybody had been fit, with the way that Alfredo and Ryan Kent have performed, there'd been a lot more competition for their jersey, and they might not have been playing. Because we try and be positive, but we've also got to be honest, Jaffa. They've checked out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they have, Ox. There's no two ways about it. The two of them are only trying not to get injured. That's all they're trying to do.
Aye. And I think that's what's frustrating the support. We can see right through it, Bridger.
100%. When Jaffa's saying there about Kent possibly going to Fenerbahce, and I'm going like, I'm ready to cry. That boy was a talisman for us. He's a fabulous player on his game. Why can't we, Glasgow Rangers, get that boy in his game? I don't know. Obviously, the door's shut on it, and he's checked out. And when in the old-fashioned days of checking out, it was a true checkout. And once you get out the gate, you're out the gate, and that's it done. So I think if that happens with Ryan Kent and he ends up at Fenerbahce, they've got, my opinion, it was worth more when we, up to the last couple of seasons there, it was worth more. The £8 million or £7 million we paid, he took us through Europe, dragged us through Europe sometimes, made up goals, scored goals. He did all these great things for us, in my opinion, and it was worth 10 to 15 million pounds. And now he's worth to us nothing. And we're telling them just go. And I don't get me wrong, it's correct. And in my mind, he's not done anything, and we shouldn't be picking him anyway. Simple as that. It's up to him to show it, and he's not going to show it. And it's a sin. It makes me really sad that we're letting something like that go. What a talent he had! What a talent.
Aye. Listen, obviously people say, you should have sold him last summer, but if he's not going anywhere and says I'm thinking about a new contract, I'm way up my options, and it's modern football, Jaffa. And his agent saying, why you don't move, just wait.
Yeah, and bearing in mind last summer, this, rewind 12 months, Ox, they're getting ready to go to a Europa League final. Everything's quite hunky-dory in the Rangers camp, so who knows, we may well even have been talking to him about giving him an extended contract with possibly an increase in his weekly salary. You don't know what's been muted. That's under a different manager. Football's a funny game, Ox. It is, and I don't mean that to be coy about it, but it's a weird business. Football managers, they're in the dressing room. They've got to say on whether they want the guy or whether they've not, and they can influence whether a contract is given. If Giovanni Van Bronckhorst wanted to keep Ryan Kent, and I'm sure he did, it would have been his prerogative to sit and talk to him about money. And then, we all know what happens. 15 games into the new season, Giovanni's, Jake, it's on a sugary nail. He's on his way out of the club, and all's changed. And Michael Beale comes in and he does what he says what he does. He wants somebody looking him in the eye, and he wants somebody to want a contract. And listen, the things that we'll never know, and this is as fans, we'll never be privy to this, and neither should we be, to be perfectly honest with you. Maybe we've decided we don't want to give Ryan Kent a new contract.
And maybe his demands are too high.
Possibly. I mean, the chairman alluded to that at the AGM. He said, I think it was Alfredo Morelos he quoted, and the rumour was Alfredo wanted 48 grand a week or 45 grand a week his agent asked for. Come on.
45, just 45 would do it. Maybe 45 quid a week. My goodness gracious.
Aye. It's a sad situation because the boys, the two of them at times have been excellent for us. I mean, there's a couple of seasons I think Alfredo was our talisman, and Ryan Kent put on performances that have been excellent. Domestically, I don't think he's done a lot in the last couple of years, but along with Lundstrom in that run in Europe, it was just bizarre, wasn't it? They could panic or control Dortmund at times and beat Dortmund players, Red Star players, Braga players, Leipzig players. Struggled against St Johnstone and St Mirren, you know what I mean? Doesn't add up, Jaffa.
It's bonkers when you put it like that, Ox. But it's true. That was the reality of it. That's what was happening. It was a fact. You know, they were coming back here, and we couldn't muster a 2-1 victory over St Johnstone or St Mirren, as you say. It was crazy. But you know, that was maybe down to the way the opposition teams were playing when they're more open and they're at home and think they're attacking. But the point is, listen, I know it might sound like I'm on Alfie and Ryan Kent's back. I'm not at all. They did do a lot of great things and they gave us some really good times. But Ryan's numbers just don't add up, and neither do Alfie's. Let's not be kidding about it. As a centre forward at Rangers, I mean, you should be banging in minimum plus. I reckon plus 25 a season should be your target number. You should be hitting anywhere around about that, and even to be hitting the 18s and 17s, and you know, this season down at 11 or 12, it's not good enough, folks. To be honest with you.
I can't disagree, Bridge. I can't. It's fact. I mean, Ryan Kent has 6 goals in 2 seasons in all the games he's played. You know, he should get 6 tap-ins every season for the back post, but don't scoring decent goals.
Yeah, obviously we've said a bit earlier there, his mind isn't on it. I believe what's wrong with Ryan Kent. He's no match fit, and match fit is your mind as well. It's all to do with your mind. Are you ready for the game? Can you play the game? And can you show us that you can do it? And at the present moment, he can only do one of these things. He can't show us. He can play the game from a physical perspective. He just can't do it. And that's his problem, big problem. And wherever he goes, he's going to have the last 2 years at local level. He's got the last 2 years to haunt him. And they will haunt him because he'll get to wonder, can I ever pull it back again? Can I do this? And I don't think he can. I think he's going to make a big mistake if he goes over to Turkish football. He'll get kicked off the park every week. Every single week they'll kick him off the park. They only need to look at the highlights to Scottish football when he was playing to see how is it easy to stop him. Do that, done it. I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. By the way, I'm saying I don't know if it's true because it was a Jaffa that mentioned it. I'm assuming it's true because Jaffa said it. I take it was.
I wouldn't because Jaffa said it was true.
No, I'm just taking his word at the moment.
It's rumoured. It's rumoured. That would be fair, Jaffa, wouldn't it?
Yes, it is a rumour. It's a rumour that's came for the press from Turkey. Incidentally, it's been Turkish journalists that have been reporting it this afternoon, saying that he's reached an agreement to sign for Fenerbahce. And to be honest with you, Bridge, on that note, like you, I'm also I would, you know, Turkish football for me. Listen, I know financially it's a bigger league than what the SPFL is. I understand that. But I think that just, for me, that also epitomises the fact that if even an English Championship team had come in for Ryan Kent, they would probably be on par with paying me what Fenerbahce's offering them. And I'm sure he would. Well,
I don't know, with the transfer fee and the tax situation there, if you get paid, of course.
Aye. Well, that's true, Ox. What I was going to say was I'm sure the English Championship would be more attractive financially than what the Turkish league would have been, and much more stable and definitely guaranteed. Because Ox, that I know, and I was being tongue in cheek, that not getting paid your wages is rife in Turkey. Rife. Just ask Chris Boyd about it.
Aye.
But
Do you know? I look at some rubbish sometimes, as you all know. Yeah. Do you know that Alfredo Morelos has scored 3 times as many goals against Celtic as Chris Boyd has? Did you know that?
I didn't know. Yeah.
There you go. Didn't know that. Anyway.
But that's a brilliant start, A brilliant start.
But just when you mentioned Chris Boyd, who's a guy that I never thought would be so good and forthright in the media. Jaffa, you've never seen that side of him when he was a player. Interviews of that, did we? And he just took to it like a dog to water.
He's very good. he's brilliant on Sky. Sky like him a lot, and he is. He's really he's engaging, and he's good to listen to. You know, I know the other side can't stand him, but they love to rib him, and he loves it, doesn't he? I mean, he loves getting sang at Tannadice and stuff like that. It's brilliant. Andy Walker loves telling him about
that. Aye, just a shame about the company he keeps. Right, we're getting up to a tune. I don't know how we're going to close down the club, but big things happening in the club. Do you think it's finished, Jaffa? Or more to come?
No, I think there's more to come. I think there'll be more
predictions then going in.
I think there's going to be some investment in the club box. I think there'll be some movement in the shareholding side of things. I think there'll be some more people coming on the board alongside John Bennett. And I still think we probably will go down the director of football role. I still think they'll get somebody in to do that job.
But don't you think, Jaffa, if we don't, we're going to make ourselves look quite cheap as a club? We want to be a club that's going to be up in the half decent areas of European football. They've all got sporting directors or director of football or whatever title they want to give it, and they will do whatever they can, whatever they're supposed to do. By looking at, I want to see that guy there, going to go and check and see if we can get him, and that kind of thing. Whatever it is, hopefully we get somebody who can do that. That'd be wonderful. Director of football. That's only my opinion. Beale says he can handle it. Well, I think he's going to get too much on his plate for me.
What do you think, Ox?
Director of football?
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a title, mate. I think maybe being over importance. You have to get your recruitment right, and whose job is it first and foremost to select the players? Also, as the director of football's role to collate information and say, right, there's the budget we've got for these, and there's the players we can get. Who do you want us to go for? Because obviously, if you were saying we need a centre forward, I would say we're going to get Haaland for Man City. Well, it's not going to happen, is it? You know what I mean? You know, so you've got to be. It's all within budget, so the director of football will be able to roll that out. Do you need somebody paying £300,000 a year to collate information? I don't know if you do, mate, if I'm being honest.
And most of that nowadays, let's be honest, Ox, is getting collated with stat websites. You know, the club are already using probably some of those said websites, you know, Player Scout and stuff like that. You know, all of that's it's all being collated. But then, with the amount of information that needs brought together, it's just a tap, you know, it's on a keyboard, isn't it? Is it a good scout we need? Is it a good scouting system that we need, Ox? Should we get back down to bare bones? And
well, I think that's changed as well. You know, because if you go back a few generations, I mean, if you were a scout, you can get every match that somebody's played and sit and watch them. You know, in professional football for all over the continent, maybe all over the world, Jaffa. You know, whereas before you would maybe have to go and see them in the flesh. You know, so I don't know how much physical watching is done anymore. I mean, you know, if that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think that role's changed as well. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm belittling the director of football's role with contracts and negotiating contracts, but you'd like to think somebody for your legal side and finance will be involved in that. You're not going to have the say in that, are you?
No,
because it's going to be somebody else. Somebody else is going to talk. I mean, I know you like websites with numbers and letters in them because I know there's a lot of 34 double Ds and 36 double Cs that you look at, but
that's cruel, by the way. Cruel.
You know, but I don't know about collating information. I don't know. As I've said many a time on here, I couldn't criticise Ross Wilson because I didn't know what his remit is. For outside looking in, it looked as if he failed, but we don't know how much. If he was told to go and get Ridvan, and he went and got him, he's done his job, hasn't he?
Yeah.
If he selected Ridvan and said to Gio, he's the man to solve that problem you think you've got, and he's gone and got him, he's failed, hasn't he? So two different roles.
Yeah, and they're the bits, they're the finer details, conversations, and say we as fans, and even it wouldn't matter. There'll be people within Rangers, even at senior level, don't actually know how that transpires. You know, it's a bit like claiming who found Calvin Bassey. Well, who knew about him? You know, some say it was Steven Gerrard that knew about him. Some say it was Michael Beale that knew about him. Who did know about him? It doesn't. You know,
my understanding with Bassey is we played Leicester at Ibrox. In a friendly for the under-23s, I think. And Bassey played against us. And that's where the funnel.
So it's the same way Borna and what was his name? The other fella we signed from Croatia at the time.
Dresda.
We played against them, didn't we?
Aye. Yeah.
Which is often that's what happens when you play a team, and that was how football. That was how you found players. You played against guys, and your manager would go, "Well, he's a decent player, you know, come and join up." I'm talking at obviously boys level, but that was what happened. And let's not be kidding, even at senior level, clearly it's still happening. But I mean, obviously. The whole director of football throws up such a wide range of views, Ox, and you know, nobody's right and nobody's wrong. It's just how we all see it and how we fit that into our club and how we can make it work best for us and what we can get out of it. And ultimately, it comes down to one thing and one thing only: signing the right players, doesn't it?
Aye, and a bit of luck, mate.
Yep.
A bit of luck. You know, if Tom Lawrence stays fit, we score 20 more goals a season. He gives us a more dealing with team and things could be different. No, I'm not saying they could be different, Bridgeman.
Yeah, absolutely, pal. Absolutely. I'm thinking the other day that it'd be nice to see that boy Lawrence back before the end of the season. But is that going to happen? Do you think at all?
No.
Right. So it's going to be next season then.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get a full
time. Bridge 1-0 to the ladies.
Yes.
Well done.
Gusty Howard scored.
I like that. Love it. Well done. Nice to see some of your teams getting a victory, isn't it? Love it. I think, what were we saying? What were we talking about there? Never mind, doesn't matter.
I'll give you a clue, it was Rangers.
Of course it was Rangers, but Tom Lawrence. I hope the lad gets back and comes back roaring, because I thought he was a very good player for us, and saw him scoring some cracking goals from a 20-yard shot. You know, that's the kind of area we're looking for somebody to have a shot at goal, or consistently have a shot at goal. The only one we've got that does that and gets anywhere with the target is John Lundstrom, but he doesn't do it often enough, in my opinion.
There's a guy you mentioned that's a conundrum, John Lundstrom, Jaffer. I know you don't like any individual players, but similar to Kent, he had that period in Europe, you know, and then domestically, a couple of shoots. No, he wasn't the worst player. He was okay on Sunday. Times he done okay for us, you know. But week in, week out, he just lacks consistency of making things happen.
Yeah, for me, Ox, that's the biggest negative about John Lundstrom's game. He's not creative enough. He doesn't drive forward. He's not that type of player. He's just his energy levels aren't at that. He can't do that, and he won't do it. I know he gets bursts and he'll get the bit between his teeth, and he'll push on a wee bit. And he actually on Sunday he was probably one of the guys for the midfield that did break. But then he gets to the edge of the box, Ox, and he doesn't know what to do because he almost has a nosebleed when he gets to the box because it's not his game. That's not how he's became a professional footballer. And like you're asking the question here, again, this is not a personal thing. I'm sure John Lundstrom's a nice fella, but for me, I would move him on. I think that wage he's getting paid could be better used elsewhere. I think there's better young players in and around different leagues that we can go and acquire with that kind of money and that kind of salary. Probably 2 players, to be honest with you, with whatever we're paying John Lundstrom. I think because he's came for the lower, he played in the EPL and he played for Sheffield United. Got to be on 30 a week, hasn't he? Got to be.
It depends how you cut up the signing on fee, mate, because remember he came in a free, yeah?
Yep. Yeah,
you know,
100%. It could be more. It could work out at 40 grand a week.
Guys, I think John Lundstrom is a bit of an enigma. I thought this season he wasn't playing very well at all in big chunks, and I actually thought he was fear of getting injured. He seemed to be blocking away from the tackles, and gradually he's improved until that game against Celtic. And I thought he was excellent. He had a smashing game, and no fear, running about, getting in and getting the tackles done. And that might be his turning point. I don't know. But I thought he had a smashing game. Probably one of our better players in the whole 90 minutes. And that's the best I've seen him playing for a wee while. But it's been gradual coming up and getting there. So it may have just been a time. He's been injured. He's holding himself back and so on and so forth. But he was jumping out of tackles, but not as deliberate as Kent. You see Kent run away from the tackle so many times. But John Lundstrom, no like that. I thought he had a great game against Celtic. If that carries any weight, good on you, pal.
I thought it was okay. I wouldn't. Bridges more generous than me, Jaffa.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Aye. It was. He wasn't glaring like he was in the last game, whether he was unfit or not, where he looked like he was towing a caravan. No. But John Lundstrom does that at Ibrox a lot for me. He goes into hiding too easy. Whereas when you're on the big stage at Ibrox, you know that should be your. That's where you should come into your own when you've got the fans, when you've got 50,000 fans behind you. That should be pushing you on to have even better performances. Instead of having 8 out of 10, you should be having 9.5 out of 10. That's just my opinion. I mean, I would have given my right leg to play at Ibrox, but then I'm a blue nose through and through, aren't I?
Well, you never played at Ibrox, Jaffa,
unfortunately. I've been left it a few times. I've been on the park a few times, but illegally usually.
You're right. Looks, yeah, shocker.
Right. We're going to go to a tune. Come and join us. Give your thoughts and the developments of the club. What else you want to see happen? Obviously, the speculation on players, we can talk about it all night long, and people have different views. But come and join us after the tune. So, gentlemen, if you don't mind, get yourself on mute because we're going to have a tune.
How many years ago, my boys, I left the Glasgow town. I followed the pull of the Yankee land and here I'm settled down. Although I meant no Bridgeton Cross and my friends so near and dear, but I would give if I could have the Rangers over here. You can talk of California where the sun shines all the year. You can bomb about your Broadway light so clear. But it would fill my heart with gladness, it would fill my heart with cheer, if we only had the Rangers over here. For they're the finest team in all the land, and I'm sure that you'll agree. To see them win is something grand, it's part of history. For the boys who fear no noise, my lads, and I mean that's quite sincere. What I would give if I could have the Rangers over here. You can buck up California where the sun shines all the year. You can bum about your Broadway life so clear. But it would fill my heart with gladness, it would fill my heart with cheer, and we only had the Rangers over here. Finest team in all the land, and I'm sure that you'll agree. To see them win is something grand, it's part of history. where the boys should fear no noise, my lads, and I mean this quite sincere. What I would give if I could have the Rangers over here. You can talk of California where the sun shines all the year. You can bomb my Bachelor Broadway lights so clear. But it would fill my heart with sadness, it would fill my heart with cheer. If we only had the Rangers over here. If we only had the Rangers over here. If we only had the Rangers over here.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, what's your view on Bisgrove moving departments, Jaffa? Do you see that as a positive?
I do actually. I do, Ox. I think that's quite a smart move. No, they've had a chance to see Bisgrove up at close. Working for the club. I don't know how long he's actually been with us now, about 3 years. So they've obviously seen a lot in him, Ox, and no doubt he's seen a lot of us as well from the inside. I'd like to think that he's getting on merits, and it's not a case of because you've been in and around the building and at a senior level, you're getting moved up the stair. But it's a different role, that he's taking on. So he's been very successful. Again, I know we've had a laugh on here at times. What he's merched up and what he's done, but what you can't deny is the guy's brought in a tremendous amount of revenue into the club in his time and grown it year on year. But it's a different role. So he's moving into a more administrative role he's moving into. So he speaks very well, and he's the guy's obviously a clever fella. But be good to see what the strategy is going to be and how they're going to push that forward, and what the game plan is, and what it is, what it is we're trying to get to, and what it is we're trying to achieve off the park. I'm not talking about on the park. I'm talking about off the park. So interesting to hear. I know he's going to be talking to the fans and talking to the media soon. So it'll be good to hear what he's got to say, James Bisgrove.
Yeah. Do you think he could be doing the two roles, Jaffa?
Potentially. Aye, potentially. Yeah, it's a possibility, Ox. Aye. It has always been tongue in cheek, but a lot of people have often said, what does the job actually entail? I know we saw him on occasions when they were interviewing managers and what have you, sitting in hotel rooms with Ross Wilson and stuff and jotting about Europe, catching up with at the time it was Giovanni Van Bronckhorst when they were interviewing for him for the takeover, the job taking over from Steven Gerrard. Could be Ox, aye. It's not a bad shout. Be another way of saving a big fat salary, because instead of the two of them, obviously it would an increase for Bisgrove, but it's certainly, with the two of them rolls together. I'm not sure how much time's involved in that. I know in his role it's probably a full-on job, but I don't know what Robertson's role was. I have to be honest with you. I know he was an administrator, but he had staff round about him, didn't he?
He's in charge overall. Everything into all the departments, collate all the stuff and presents to the board, mate. Yeah.
Yep.
He'll have KPIs that the board will judge him on. Yeah, revenue, structures in the club. He'll be ultimately in charge of the fabric at Ibrox. You'll need to feed all that back to the board. And remember when they walked in the door, we were close to not being able to play at Ibrox. The millions it spent. The roofs were falling down. We were close to not getting our fire safety certificate because so much stuff had to be done, and all that's been sorted, mate. So collectively, the move forward, and we doff our hats because we wouldn't have been playing at Ibrox, so it was close. It was close, Trevor.
Yeah, I know, Ox, and the other things, I know we've come a long way in a short period of time. You forget that the actual inner structure of the club was in an absolute. I know it literally was. The bricks were crumbling and it was falling down in places because there had been no maintenance done in the stadium for so many years, for the best part of probably 10 years. So yeah, you're right. We do doff our caps to the three bears and the guys that come in and saved the club, and it's been a long journey, and maybe that role isn't quite as critical as what it once was, if that's a way of putting it.
Maybe. All right. So another thing that broke in the last couple of days is that John Bennett met up with Club 1872. Do you still think there's a role for the Club 1872 within the club, or has that ship sailed?
For me, Ox.
Aye, mate. Aye.
I think there's a role for Club 1872, but I think Club 1872 need to decide. Personally, this is just my own personal opinion, Ox. I think Club 1872 need to engage with never mind. I agree, maybe talking to the club, but I think they should engage with the fans that they're trying to represent. I've never personally spoken to Club 1872. I know Stuart Houston was on here on the show one night, and we spoke at length. You yourself, you interviewed him, and he spoke a lot about what 1872 was trying to do. I'm not a member of Club 1872, Ox. I don't really see. I don't see what advantage it brings to me personally. I would prefer to see Club 1872 more involved in causes that the club, where it helps the club, whether it be, for example, disabled access or other things that are needing done to the club in and around it, safe standing areas if they want to get involved in things like that. I'm not sure I see Club 1872 in the role that they want to see themselves in, which is on the board. I don't know if I see that as a possibility.
I know. I don't want us to go into that debate. I'm sure we'll have other shows where maybe debate it. I just don't see how that would work, because there's a lot of confidentiality. You deal with boardroom stuff, and you go in there, and then people would want you to feed back. It would just be a recipe for disasters,
Yeah,
I can vouch for some of that, mate.
Exactly. I mean, it's good. I think again, for both parties. Listen, there certainly shouldn't be any. They shouldn't be at loggerheads with each other. They shouldn't be falling out with each other. The two of them at the end of the day are part of the same cause. They're part of Rangers. They're part of your football club, Club 1872. I'm sure what they're trying to achieve is only good things for Rangers. And I know John Bennett's only he's in the job, and at least he's opening up debate with them and he's having a conversation with them. That's got to be a positive thing. Whether the two parties can see a role for each other, whether John Bennett sees a role for them, if he does, I'm sure he'll tell us in due course, and getting them involved in the club. But I don't, like you said, Ox, the kind of information that's flying about in the boardroom, I don't know. Us as fans have really got a massive appetite. We entrust a lot of the guys to make the right decisions, but really, do we want to know, when they're at war with this one and at war with that one, and they're trying to put this fire out and they're trying to put that fire out, and what the spending is, as you say, what the strategic planning is for the club. Do the fans really want to be involved in all that? I'm not so sure the fans do. I think the fans just want 22 players or 24 players in the dressing room that are, born red, white, and blue.
Just for the record, you said Stuart Houston. He played a good player, played with Man United. Craig Houston.
Sorry. He was a good player, Stuart Houston. Craig Houston. Sorry, Craig.
Craig wasn't a bad player neither, but Stuart Houston was better. Right, good to see you back, Bridge. I've got a question for you, Bridge, man, just to change the mood slightly. And people want to go in with this one. It's not difficult.
All right.
Would you sign Malik Tillman for the reported fee? It's been branded about. I don't know if that's a total deal and that's the transfer fee. The devil's in the detail, but let's just say it's a transfer fee of £5 million plus his wages. Would you sign Malik Tillman, Bridge?
As things stand right now, no. I think the manager, whomever the manager is, and how he's going to cope with it, and how he copes with whatever football director that comes in, or director of football. And if it's a manager and he's a mixture of director of football, then he needs to decide where Malik Tillman has to play. And I think that's got to be done beforehand, before you buy him. Because the way he's playing at the moment, I don't see him You know, some games, not the highest games, right? The last game he played, never played very well, went off injured. Now, I don't think he's a good enough player to play at that level. Forgive me, but I just don't see it. He's not showed me that yet. He's a wonderful player, so he's probably brilliant against the St Mirrens of this world or whatever. But I think when it comes to the big games, maybe he's just a young lad and not ready yet. So that's up to the manager to see if he does that. I wouldn't pay £5 million for any player right now.
All right. Jaffa, your thoughts?
Malik Tillman, $5 million. I probably would sign him, Ox, yeah, from what I've seen of him. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would.
That was your rationale, mate. What's your rationale?
I just taking into account the young fella's age, clearly the ability he's got as a footballer, the vision he's got, what he's contributed in the first season that he's been at our club, which is quite a difficult season. Usually your first one's the most difficult, settling in. And under the conditions that he's actually been here in, what we've achieved this year, or the lack of what we've achieved, the season that the team itself was put in, I think taking that into account and what he's returned in goals, and in that season, I think it's actually been pretty decent, with all things considered. And there would be the reasons why I think it would probably be a safe bet to spend the $5 million. If Michael Beale sees what he's going to be bringing in, and he knows what he's going to be bringing in, can help Malik Tillman to get more freedom in the park, push him forward into that number 10 role that I think Alex Fisher here was on here one night, was telling us he was talking to a fella that had seen him playing in Germany and all the rest of it, and said the fella was a number 10 all day long. And Alex got a good brain himself, and I know all of us on here, and that's his position. There's no two ways about it. Taking all of that into account, Ox, I think $5 million's a reasonable figure, and I would sign him personally.
All right. Doesn't matter what we think. It's your call. Come and join us. Give your thoughts. Would you spend $5 million in a budget on Malik Tillman? 0141 356 1972. It's that simple. They want to hear from you, and see what you think. I think you'd be signing what you would think would be potential, Jaffa. Bobby, who we've not heard for a few weeks, I think Bobby's been proved right. The hustle and bustle of Scottish football when we play them in the games at 100 miles an hour, over the piece, he's struggled in it. He's shown glimpses there on Sunday, like a lot of our players did. He showed glimpses on Sunday, but ultimately the game has been too big for him. But he is a boy learning his trade, Jaffa.
Yeah, and Bobby's right about that. He is. That's a fact. The big games he's not really performed in. As I said, I'm just looking at the overall return, Ox. I mean, I know the season is more than just the Celtic games, but obviously the other games he's shown in some games, especially in the earlier part of the season, and even in the kind of the last 10 or 15 games, he's put in some absolute brilliant performances, Malik Tillman. He does some things with the ball that are unbelievable. But Bobby's right. That's a fair point. He hasn't turned it on in the big games. He's no scored any goals against them, and or if he has, we haven't won anything, as a season goes. So, it's still been a failure in that respect. It's a fair point. I'm just looking around at the market, Ox, when you see players getting banded about for English Championship and League One and League Two, and they're looking for $2 million and $2.5 million. This is a guy that's learned his trade at Bayern Munich. You can clearly see the guys.
I think he's learned his trade. We've been. I think he got the interview at Bayern Munich and he's come out to us and he's really moved on, mate.
Yeah.
He hadn't played much football, mate.
No, he hadn't, Ox. That's right. I mean, I think he only had three starts or something. That's a fair point. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. But certainly it was enough to, I guess the point I'm making is he's been schooled at Bayern Munich, hasn't he? That's where he's went to school to learn the school of football. And that says something about him. Again, Bayern Munich don't just take any young kids in; they take kids with ability and promise and all of those things. He's got the height. I think Malik Tillman's got a player, and I'm only using the basis of his age is probably the main thing that's going for him. He's only just turning 21. He's got the world at his feet, and for £5 million, I think that's a decent investment. I think even selling him on, I think there's money in him to, even from a financial point of view, maybe get them in for £5 million. And if it don't work out, I don't think you would lose that much on him, Ox, to be honest with you. I think there would be, between America and Germany, I think there would be teams out there that you would recoup most of that in.
Yeah, I think Oxford and Jaffa, I think he's a maximum £3 million player at the moment. He's got great skills, and no saying that, but pressure on him, he just doesn't cope with it too well. That's just maybe the third game he's played against Celtic. By the way, it's the best we've played as a team. The best we've played against that mob, and he was part of it. Not taking anything away from him, but I don't think he's a £5 million player.
It's his fifth game against them, Bridge. I think he's played every game.
Yeah. So he's not done great against them, and had probably been substituted most of the games or came on as a substitute. But seriously, at the weekend there, it was like, I'm not saying all the time, but there were times he was just strolling around because he's looking for that. What's my position? I should be playing there, and he turns around and Tavernier's in there, and he can't get in. That kind of thing. So he's got a lot to play, a lot of his game to make up playing for the Rangers. But as things stand, I wouldn't go anywhere near over £3 million. I just wouldn't do it. But then I'm a miserable swine anyway, so that's the way.
That's the first thing you said for a long time, and I agree with you. I get it, Bridge, but I think if you accept that and it's an if you accept the boy's got potential, and if you accept he's going to improve your first team, yeah, go and sign him, Jaffa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you accept your signing potential, I would think heavily, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, yeah. Because I don't know if it's potential we need. I think we need one of your favourites, mate, Oven Ready.
Oven Ready.
Oven Ready. Oh, Ox, we do. I mean, that's the prerequisite, don't get me wrong. And that's the decisions that Michael Beale's got to make. That comes down to budget, and as you quite rightly say, if his budget's 12 million, let's say, I'm just pulling a figure only because I know that's what kind of the money Gio spent last year. If it's the same again, and you're saying 5 million and that's going to go in Malik Tillman, then probably not. You're right, because right at this moment in time, we need 5 or 6 players that can come into that first team and absolutely shake things up. And more importantly, install a winning attitude, a will to win. That's what we need within that team. And whatever's left of that group, whoever he decides to keep, for me, that's the first thing that should be at the top of every player's list. Have you got the will to win? We can't carry MD anymore. We can't be carrying guys that are going through the motions. If Ben Davies is up here to get fit and get a contract to move back down south, we can't do that anymore. We can't be having that. And I'm not saying that is the case either. I'm just using it as an example that there's been rumours about saying that Ben Davies is on his way back, back down south again. If they're to be true, and he was only up here to get fit because he wasn't getting a game at Liverpool, for example, to get a club back in the Championship. Fair enough, right? That's football. But we don't need any more guys like that. We need guys that want to win and guys that are going to contribute 40 games, 45 games a year.
Can I ask you a question, both of you? What does anybody think about Rangers going for to get wee Billy Gilmore back?
You're saying you wouldn't pay £2 million, mate. Do you know how much Billy Gilmore's on?
No, I'm saying using that £5 million. We're
going to touch the sides, mate.
No, okay. I've got no idea how much he's on, so I couldn't tell you.
Bizarrely, I mean, he's hardly kicked him off for Brighton. I think he got man of the match at the weekend there, Jaffa.
He did. He did. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant.
He'll be a star no matter where he is. That boy.
Yeah, £5 million when he touches sides.
Right, okay, that's fine. That's it.
And the EPL Jaffa.
Again, Ox, no, it wouldn't. And I don't know what, Bridge, I don't know what Billy Gilmore's on. I don't know if he's on 130 grand a week or if he's on 90 grand a week. Either way, it would be miles away from from what we would be paying top end of plus 30s for a player. It would need to be a loan. Bridge, the only way we would get him would be on loan. And I mean, if he's in and around the Brighton first
unless
team,
his ma tells him, you better get back up.
That's the other way we would get him.
Right, Billy, Rangers are calling. Come on.
If he's more dragged him up the road, if she thinks he would be a good addition to the centre midfield. Listen, Bridge, I agree with you. He's a tremendous player. He would be brilliant for the Rangers, but I don't see it. I just don't know at this moment in time. I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Bridge?
Yeah, well, no doubt about it. But I haven't seen Billy Gilmore doing in England at all. I just haven't seen him playing.
But he's not played much, mate. He's not played much, and then he appeared on the weekend. And I mean, obviously, they won. What was it, 6?
Is he not coming to the end of his contract?
No, he just moved from Chelsea to Brighton, Bridge.
Oh, I thought he was doing Brighton on loan. I do apologise.
I think he's moved, Jaffa. Am I right? He moved.
Yeah, no, they signed him. I think was it a bit.
Well, forget it then. Forget it. He'll be on mega bucks.
Was it not about 17 or 20 million they signed him for? I thought it was they kind of numbers.
I was thinking his contract's coming up to the end at Chelsea, and he could come up to Rangers and a free. Obviously, it's not happening.
And he's still young, Bridge, as well. That's the other thing. He's only a nipper.
22.
Aye.
22.
I think Brighton have been cute there, to be honest with you, as well. I think they'll probably, again, a couple of years in the Brighton team, especially the way they're playing football. I mean, my word. There's some of the football they've got. Is that right, Ox?
I believe so, mate. I've not checked it. Somebody told me. You know?
What's that?
David Weir's the director of football.
At Rangers?
No, at Brighton.
At Brighton, sorry.
What are you on?
I don't know. I just heard we were talking about Brighton.
All right,
so
Bob.
David Weir, the director of football. Okay.
Yeah, Bob Jer's joined this evening. Bob Jer.
Hi, good evening, Ox. Good evening, lads. How are you doing?
Hi,
Bob Jer.
I'm just hearing that Mr. Kent has agreed a deal in principle with Fenerbahce. And he's heard that, yeah?
It's rumoured, Bob Jer. We discussed it earlier on, mate. Yeah, it's rumoured, that's all it is. It's on the clickbait sites, and obviously it's made some in the media as well, but it wouldn't surprise me, Jaffa.
I believe I saw it earlier on this evening, Bob Jer. Wouldn't it surprise me? I mean, listen, he's only weeks away from his contract coming to an end. I'm a wee bit shocked, Bob Jer, if that is the case, if it's true. You know, without being, you know, I don't want to get personal on Ryan Kent. I thought he was, I thought he could have done better than that, if truth be honest. But you know, money talks, and he's a brave man taking on Turkish football for a variety of reasons. Nonetheless, getting your wages every week always seems to be a problem.
Aye, yeah, they've got a reputation for that. The Turks, the people went out there to their big clubs, Galatasaray, there, Fenerbahce, and there's been an issue about them getting wages. I've read that. I think that happened to Kenny Miller at Bursaspor. That's why he was only out there, 6 months or something, and he came home. So, I don't know if it's an altogether wise move for the man, but his decision, he's playing one of the greatest clubs in the world. If he wants to turn his back on them, that's fine. Matter closed. That's up to him.
The good thing is we know what the problem was on Sunday now, Jaffa.
A medical.
It depends, Chubb somewhere. Right, okay, we'll be joined by Big Al. Evening, big man.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning.
Evening, Al.
Good morning to me. I'm just at my scratch. Wonderful. Heard your dulcet tones on the radio, so I thought I'd give you a call.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. That's all right. It's always good to hear their voices. I like Tillman, a luxury that we can't afford. If we were in a position that we were dominant in Scottish football, yeah, I think it's a player that we could bring on, get him in, maybe do that player. What we were meant to be doing with players? We were meant to buy them in cheap and sell them high. What was it called again? What was the name for it?
Trading.
Player trading model.
The player trade model. That's not no worked, is it? Not been very successful in that. So I don't think he's a type of player at the moment that we can hang our hat on. 5 games against Celtic, pretty woeful in each game. He took off. He was very crying when he came off. You seen the other player that played for them, and he got an injury and got took off. He wasn't. He looked a bit determined. The boy, that Johnson. So I think there's maybe an attitude thing there with Tillman as well. For me, I wouldn't be spending any money on him. Thank you, but no thanks. We need to go and get players that are going to be first team players that are coming in with the correct attitude. Players that can play a bit. No development. Nothing to develop.
This sound a wee bit old fashioned. I'll be talking. You want to sign men, no boys.
Correct, Amindo. That's it. But I've been talking about that for years. That's you need players in there that have got a bit of nous about them. Character of the man is essential. I think we've had that in the past. Definitely had that a long time ago. Players come in and I think you need to look at the character of the man. Know whether he can dribble or just taking Tillman again. I mean, he does well against the smaller teams, but when it counts and when you require that determination and that drive, the young boys just no go to it. And in the big games, that's where we need it. We need it against the bigger challengers. We need it against in the harder games, or Aberdeen's away. Maybe I don't know what other hard games should we have. That's what we're looking for. It's going to be difficult.
To be fair, up in Pittodrie, put 3 sitters on the plate for 3 players, and they all missed.
Oh no, I know what you're saying. Could he drive on and put the ball in the back of the net himself? No.
Oh, but he done up in Pittodrie. If you look back, he done.
I know he's doing. I know you say he's doing his job, but you could do a bit more if you and me can see that the forwards are putting the ball in the back of the net. How can he not see that? He needs to pull his socks up even further. Are you keen on keep my hold him? Ox?
Are you asking me if I would sign Malik Tillman?
Correct, Amindo, yeah.
No.
Right, that's cool. What about yourself, Jaffa? Are you?
I said aye.
Yes or no?
I said aye. Yes, aye. I said aye. I would keep him. I would say
for the 5 million. And you would keep
for
him
5 million.
For 3 million.
Bridgman says 3 million max.
Right. So me and Ox didn't want him, and you would pay the 5 million, Jaffa.
Yep, based on potential at his age.
And 3 million. Right, Bob J, you're the final vote here. Now, you're a sensible man.
Well, I hope so. Hey, well, he's an enigma, the boy. He's got a load of skill. But like the boys are saying, he doesn't do enough to hurt them, and it's them that we need to hurt as well. We can hurt the rest of them, but he's like a host to them in the team that can't hurt them, and we need people in that can hurt them. And I wouldn't pair with that amount of money for Tillman. No.
Do you know?
So it's a no for me.
Do you know why I wouldn't sign him out?
Why?
Because as we sit today, guys, what's going to be at the club next season, you're going to have potentially Hadji, if he still is, and Cantwell. And I think we'll get a problem if you have Tillman. I think if Cantwell, you're going to build your team around, he'll have a free role to do what he like and try and create. And I think he'll be playing a similar role to Tillman. That's my rationale.
Well, you've been consistent in your saying that. How do you fit the two of them in the team? Like for me, if you've got good players, they fit into the team anyway. A good player can play anywhere. They can manage it. They can manage the game. They can work with each other. I like Cantwell. Cantwell's our player. If we've got Cantwell and it means sacrificing Malik Tillman, I'm quite happy to do that. But we've got our own young guys that kind of play that role as well. It's a young guy. His mum just passed away again.
Lowry.
Lowry. No, I think Lowry's cut out the same kind of mould, is he? No, he's got that skill. And he is our player. Why would we not promote him? We don't need to part with £5 million.
Is Tillman £5 million better player than Lowry? We don't know.
No,
because we've not seen enough of Lowry to make our mind up. You know.
I know, but I think we've seen glimpses of Lowry. I think he's our player, and I'd rather persist with my own player than somebody else.
When I seen him play against Motherwell, mate, I went, "Oh, this boy's miles away for the first team." Jaffa.
Aye, he was light. He was very light on the ball that day. Ox, wasn't he, in particular? If he maybe was getting thrown off it. I mean, he's only 19. I like Lowry as well. He's still, he's Malik Tillman's nearly a couple of years ahead of him. So from a development point of view, that goes a long way at that age. I agree with you in that respect, Al, definitely. About getting, Lowry's our player, and in that principle, based on that, it's a fair shout, an absolute fair shout about not signing Tillman. If I like Lowry's, if he's the guy and we see the vision there, and Michael Beale's always going on about promoting, from the youth academy, then get him in and give him a run of games. We've not seen enough of Lowry to be able to judge him. His fitness has been a bit of an issue as well in the latter part of the season too. But
that tackle, that was shocking. What happened to that boy? Shocking, that tackle. Dumbarton, I can't remember who done it, but that was thuggery, wasn't it? It was a bullish tackle.
Ali Love.
A coward's tackle, yeah. Absolutely.
How many times has that happened to Rangers players? Thuggery.
Coward's tackles. Yeah. Anyway, Bob, give us how you see it, mate.
There's never been a bit of buggery with any Rangers players. Is that not the other side of the city?
Good point, well made. Good point, well made. When you go, Bob,
What are you talking about, Tillman again? Is that the question?
Tillman and Lowry, mate, yeah.
Well, Lowry must be given a chance. He's too big a talent for the farm out or loan out or anything like that. To me, Lowry, I hear a lot of people talking about that laddie. We made the mistake with Billy Gilmore. All right, fair enough. That's maybe a different circumstance, but to me, now, if we've got a talented boy in our hands, we can keep him. And as the guys are saying there, it wouldn't have cost us £5 million. Because at the end of the day, Rangers still aren't out the fine. I'm not going to use a word like mire, but they're still got a wee bit of financial problems now, I think. And to spend £5 million on a player, there is a degree of doubt about. No, it wouldn't be me. Lowry would come in. Lowry would come in now if he was fat enough for these dead rubber games I've got to the end of the season. It's an opportunity to see what he can do.
I think the trouble is he's just coming back from another injury, and obviously he's emotional as well. So I think, if I'm being honest, only my opinion, I think next year's make or break for Alex Lowry, our club. If Michael Beale doesn't pick him, if Stevie G's looked at him and as a younger man, and then Giovanni's had him in the fringes, and then if Michael Beale doesn't select him, I think the boy would need to move, Jaffa.
Yeah, I mean, I think he only signed a short-term extension, Ox, to his contract. It wasn't a long-term contract that Alec Lowry signed with. So you're probably right. I mean, even at 20, if he's not getting, next year, if he's not getting plus 20 games, then he probably will have to move on, or even getting a run in the team that he can demonstrate and show his talent. There's no two ways about it. The guy's a talented player. And the short games that I've seen him in, and the what he's contributed, he's certainly got an eye for pass, and he's a bit of a maverick, but he needs to take that on to the first team. And injuries as well, needs to, if he can get a break basically on that side of things. See, going back to, I was talking earlier on there about players with will to win, and guys that actually want to play for the team. See on Sunday, one guy, and I know there's been a lot of debate around him, Ox, about whether we should re-sign him again. See the attitude of Scott Arfield. And then again, the game against Aberdeen, when he scored the 2 late goals when he came off the sub, he's always available, no matter whether he's been on the subs bench for 4 weeks. See that attitude? That's we need about a couple of dozen of those guys in and about our club. There's not enough of them.
100% agree with you, Jaffa.
A lot of time for Scott Arfield, but I still wouldn't re-sign him, if that makes sense, Jaffa. Yeah.
I think because of his age, Ox, I was only demonstrating the fact that in 94 minutes he was down in the left back area.
I wish he was 30 and we were signing him like we were 5 years ago when Stevie G joined our club 5 years ago today. Stevie G joined the club and obviously Scotty was coming in. I believe he was coming in before Stevie G came. But his attitude and it's just his desire when he's been on the pitch. Maybe not on the pitch as often as he'd have liked in the last couple of years. But he's been a hit for me, if I'm being honest. His attitude and Scotty Arfield, the man, no pun intended, but we salute him, Bridgeman.
100%. 100%. I was on my big mouth at the end of last season says I would sign Scott Arfield 100%. I'm actually swithering whether we should in fact try to entice him to stay for another season, simply because his performance against them at the weekend there. I think he did a great game against them when he came on. He was super duper. And as you say, an example to everybody. No matter who they are, an absolute example to everybody. He's got a great attitude towards the game and he absolutely loves Rangers. Absolutely loves them.
It's hard to believe 5 years with us, you know. Big Al. You're on mute, mate. Come up. That's it. Go on. Oh, you were off and back on. Go on. Try again, Al. Press it again. One more time.
Right, can you hear me go?
We can hear you.
Good to go.
Carry on.
Right. Personally, I think I would give Scotty Arfield. It's that type of character. I mean, I'm not keen on keeping players maybe by their sell-by date, but as a bit part player and the attitude run about you need kind of characters like, not too many of them. I'm not wanting to keep people for sentimental reasons, but I think he still adds a bit of value, and he's got the character that we're looking for, and I think that can brush off on some other players. They players are there to bring on your young players like your Lowry. You're speaking about Lowry as well. That's the coaching staff need to get him up to speed. But definitely for me, I think I would give Scott Arfield I'd give him a role there next year, simply for the attitude that he does show, and that's the type of player that we need. And I'll need to go, but Steven Gerrard's done great, since he left us.
I wonder what
got yourself, Stevie. Yeah.
I wonder what he thinks, sir.
The quiet moments. Right, I'll let you go. All the best, gentlemen. Thanks for taking my call.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. It's hard to believe it's 5 years ago since Stevie G signed Bridgeman.
Oh, I still see him. I'm still at Ibrox in the stand there, and I still see him walking along like a youngster. Oh my God, what a crowd! Oh my God, what an occasion! Wonderful. We only get a few occasions like that in football, and the one before that was Souness coming to Rangers. Just unbelievable stuff. Just unbelievable. Seriously. And I wish I would do it now if I could. And I mean this in all sincerity. I would ask Steven Gerrard to come and be director of football at Rangers. That's what I would do.
I can't see it, but I was disappointed when Gerrard left. Yeah, different soul with Giovanni, if that makes sense, Jaffa. But he didn't want to be with us, so he's gone, and that's the way it is. No, but I enjoyed him at the club, Jaffa. Oh no, what's Jaffa? He's on mute. Bob, Jeff.
I couldn't agree more. I was absolutely elated, and it's hard to believe it's 5 years since Stevie G walked in the door. And then we were all sitting here on Rangers Radio laughing at events along the road. Well, gentlemen, the truth is, we were laughing on the other side of your face, and then we'll go to do something about it. But as far as bringing Stevie G back in some capacity, I'd love to see him come back. He knows the club inside it. And I think he knows deep within himself that he made a mistake taking out that job at Aston Villa. So, you don't know. As the boys say, it's a quiet moment. But he's bound to be thinking. But that's it. He's been and he's gone, and it's the future. And we're going to go ahead with Mr. Beale and see how we go on next year with his signings. That's the topic of discussion at the moment. Steven Gerrard's the past.
Aye, he's gone 18 months now. It's been an eventful 18 months, Jaffa.
Oh, it has, Ox. Listen, look, I don't think we're any further forward in that respect, Ox, are we? You know, from when Stevie G left. I mean, you know, I know we hadn't won in. It was 15 games into the season, but it does seem a long time ago. I don't think we've moved forward at all, and we've certainly not found a solution. I'm hoping Michael Beale is a solution, but I love Stevie G at the club, Ox. I think the stature of him, it was a great fit for both him and for us at the time. Hence the reason why he done so well up here and got himself back down to the EPL. As Al said, that didn't work out very well. You never know. Football, as I said earlier on, is a strange game. Strange. You know, I don't think Stevie G would ever come back to Scotland or back to Rangers as a manager. But because his family, you know, he's got a very young family, and that was one of the things. I heard him just saying that recently in an interview. That was one of the main reasons why he moved back down the road. But director of football, he could do that for his house.
If you want my honest opinion, mate, that ship sailed. The whole ship sailed, yeah. You know, I think we've got to move on, got to move by it. Yeah, as much as an icon, you know, but I think the ship sailed, and I can't see him. I think he'll try and get back into management for the last hurrah.
Probably. Well, at the other end of the scale, Graham Souness left Sky at the weekend, didn't he?
Aye. And he said, but did he say? He said that he moved out of football management because his temperament didn't suit the modern game.
That's right. I heard him saying that. He was going to kill everybody.
What did he leave Sky for? How did he get a boot?
He's retired, 70. He's 70 years of age, you know.
Yeah.
Aye.
You wouldn't believe that, wouldn't you? Know?
No.
Just wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, some man, Souness, you know.
Oof.
Aye.
I agree.
On you go, Jaffa.
I was just going to say, obviously, a massive Rangers supporter as well, Ox, which always goes a long way, doesn't it? But yeah, it's, I was tongue-in-cheek there when I'm saying he you know, director of football, Graham Souness. But certainly, on that same note, Ox, I think that's one of the things I would like to see with the management structure of the club. I would like to see more football men rather than businessmen and guys that know football, whether it be guys that know football that are directors of football that actually understand football. I know it's a different role nowadays, but I still think there's a role for the Steven Gerrard type guys that understand football dressing rooms and understand players ultimately, and how they, you know, how to get the best out of them and how they can negotiate with them and talk to them. I think we lack that a wee bit right now. I think it would be good to get more guys that are football minded in and around the corridors of Ibrox.
So you're saying that you'd want somebody, an ex-pro in the Ross Wilson type role? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
I get it. I think one of the nights that Ross Wilson started finishing up with your club was the night he paraded Darren Ramsey. I think that was the beginning of the end for him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you've often said that, Ox. Yeah, I mean, he done that as he held a press conference himself as if he had signed Darren Ramsey. It was not, you know, he should have been nowhere near that press conference.
No. Well, you live and learn. And that worked out well for us. That worked out well. He missed a penalty and Kent missed one for 6 inches, Bob Gerrard. Things would have been different there.
Things would have been so different. a wee bit of composure. 6 inches out. Well, it wasn't quite 6 inches, but it was a couple of years out. A wee bit of composure, and we'll come home with a European trophy. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, lads. And as you say, we are where we are. And we've just got to ride out this season. Although it's been a total disaster, let's be honest. And I'm looking to the future. Looking forward to see who's coming in. Directors of football, I don't care for them. I'd rather the manager and his assistant run the team. It's for the best of their ability. Whether it works, whether it doesn't, remains to be seen. But, yeah, on we go. And I've been you heard any rumours about who's coming in, Ox? Anybody? No?
Maybe for another show, Bob, yeah. Maybe for another show. We've got a few weeks to kill.
Aye, well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I've got a few weeks to kill, and it will be killing everybody these last few weeks. We can't afford another season like this, boys. We just can't. You're talking about the Glasgow Rangers. We've got to be big and strong and superior again. We must. We always were. So let's go for it, Teddy Bears. I'm going to sign out, Ox, and thank you for having me. And all the best.
Cheers, Bob, yeah.
I'll hear from you.
See you, Bob, yeah.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, Bob, yeah.
What a nice man he is. What a nice
Oh,
man.
he's brilliant.
Very nice, man. Very nice.
You could take a leaf out of his book, Bridgeman.
Oh, I could. There's a number of people that could take a leaf out of that book. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. And we're going to... Listen, there's going to be loads of speculation, Jaffa. It's going to be mad.
Well, yeah, exactly, Ox. It will be mad because just the sheer volume of players that we are going to be bringing in, you know, whether it's 5, 7, 3, 8, whatever it may be, somewhere in between that, and depending on who becomes available, etc., etc. So, that means it will probably be linked with about 200 players. So, and the Red Tops love that up here, as you well know. I mean, some of it's already started, the nonsense. You know, that's just what they do. That's how they get the clicks, don't they? That's how they try and get their clicks and how they ultimately try and make money on advertising. So, but it's like everything, Oxy. The media should come from sources like ourselves, you know, guys that talk to the club and know the club and have contacts at the club and hear things that are legit, and other Rangers platforms, etc., etc., and steer clear of the naughties, the Red Top guys, because they're not worth their salt.
Poison.
Or table salt.
Yeah. I'm surprised you go to the Red Tops. You were always a top shelf man, Jaffa.
Oh, I tell you, I was gutted. See when that Sporting Sunday went out of circulation.
The Sporting Sunday?
Only because you like the racing page, yeah?
That was it. Aye, that was it.
Called it?
For the tone of your voice, I can tell you were an ardent reader, Bridgeman. Only for the pictures.
Of course.
Only for the pictures.
Oh, brilliant.
Terrible, man.
That was the one that published a picture of the London bus on the moon.
I tell you, them were the days, Ox. See when the catalogue dropped through the door, the new catalogue.
Oh, there you go. Oh, dear.
Your mind's just on a different level, Jaffa. Just on a different level.
Aye, well, as I said, them were the days. You've got to. It was dark times, Ox. You know, there was a lot of striking going on. You had to figure ways out of keeping yourself occupied.
A deck of cards. Oh dear. Bridgeman, you've seen a lot of things happening at the club there, your career supporting the Rangers. We've been in worse situations than this, and we'll get to it, and we'll be stronger for it, hopefully.
Yeah, of course, it's about changing. The times that change, you know. You've got to. We need to be able to get time, take a breath, and get players in the door. That's the situation we've got at the moment. What we didn't want was players just walking out. You know, we should have been doing a bit better management 2 seasons ago and getting these players tied up after the second year. You know, that's when most people would probably agree that's what you should be doing. When a player gets 2 years into his contract, they start to sort of give him a new contract.
I don't think it's that simple, Bridge. I keep
No,
saying
I'm not
it.
saying it is, but at least start it. And some of these players might not have signed anyway, so that's fair enough, you know. But when they're in a certain time, I don't like to think we're going to wait until the end of a 4-year period and then ask somebody if they want a new contract. And I think 2 years ago, Ryan Kent was really good, and so was Wilfredo Morelos. So they may have, if you could have got them signed on then, different times, of course, you know. But no, I think that's the big pressure points for us. Is not having the players in the team at the moment. It's really tough on us, and we need to do something about that quickly.
I get it. In an ideal situation, if somebody was 2 years into his contract, you can give him another year extension, Jaffa. But the problem is, they might down tools and stuck with him for 3 years instead of 2. You know, I don't know. It's, running a football club is unique to any other business.
It is totally, Ox, and that's a very, you know, not a truer bunch of words has been said, because we're not the only club that has come foul of that situation. You know, in recent, I mean, in the case of Morelos, listen, the Morelos one, we paid £1 million for him. He's been with us 6 years. You know, the high majority of that, he's been relatively successful. We didn't make any money on him. We potentially could have, but as far as I understand it, none of those offers were ever really carried through. We had tentative interest from him, and I believe he was allowed to go and negotiate last year with some of the French clubs. And he did, but the deals never, the money, the offer never came forthwith, or else I think Morelos would have been off last summer. So, and Ryan Kent, as we know, has happened that you know, players run contracts down. That's what happens nowadays. I just don't think I don't think there's ever a right or a wrong way of doing things. Giving players 2-year contracts, what happens if they're absolutely brilliant and the second year they go, you know what, I'm out of here in 12 months' time? The clubs have got to protect their asset to a degree, you know, and that goes back to the Malik Tillman conversation. Is Malik Tillman worth potentially giving him a 4/5-year contract for £5 million? When you put it like that and you add all the money up, it'll not just be £5 million anymore, Ox. That turns into probably a £9 or a £10 million deal. That's a lot of money for a 20-year-old kid. So it's a conundrum, that's for sure.
Aye, it's a conundrum. You're right, mate. You're right. You know, but I mean, look, we signed Alan McGregor on a free, brought him back on a free. Stephen Davis, Ryan Jack, John Lundstrom. Who else did we get out of a contract? Can't think. You
Scotty
know what I mean?
Arfield.
Scotty Arfield, you know, so we've took advantage of it as well, yeah?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's modern football, mate. You know, it's modern football.
Calvin Bassey, Joe Aribo.
Cross borders, mate.
Cross borders, aye, but it's minimal
nothing.
fee, isn't it?
Aye. So it's nothing, you know. So, aye, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Right, Jaffa? We've reached that time of the evening.
Thanks for having me on, Ox. Yep, good show. Good to hear from some of the callers tonight, and good to hear Bridgeman's in such good form. Thanks for having me on, mate.
Yep. Bridgeman.
What can I say, Ox? Brilliant show. Absolutely superb show. Obviously, well done to yourself and your techie guys. And of course, Jaffa, thank you for carrying me through it. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, in particular Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, we are going forward. Everybody, we want every Rangers fan to come with us and keep supporting the team, because the team needs us. Everybody, remember that. The team needs us. Rangers need us. Keep it going.
Yeah. Can I thank Big Al, all the way from Australia, and of course the one and only Bob here. Jaffa and Bridgeman for doing the show. Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers and the thing that everybody's been waiting for. Southside Super 6. Take it away, Old School Blue.
They come from all of Glasgow, they come from near and far. They come from every Highland glen, from here to Lochnacar. They sail from dear old Belfast to the bonny banks of Clyde. They gather round to Timeless Park and loudly sing with pride. Oh yes, R-E-N-G-E and R-N-S. In case you didn't catch it, friend, I'll set your mind at rest. Oh yes, R-E-N-G-E and R-N-S. The boys in blue of Ibrox, the Scotland's very best. Oh yes, R-E-N-G-E and R-N-S. In case you didn't catch a friend, I'll set your mind at rest. Oh yes, R-E-N-G-E and R-N-S. The boys in blue of Ibrox, the Scotland's very best. Aye, there's Richie Shearer, Robin, John Craig McKinnon too. There's Baxter, Hines and George McLean, they proudly wear the blue. There's Miller, Brandon, Wilson, what better could you want? Plus 70,000 Rangers fans that proudly sing this chant. Oh yes, R-E-N-G-E and R-N-S. In case you didn't catch it, then I'll set your mind at rest. Oh yes, R-E-N-G-E and R-N-S. The boys in blue, the Ibrox, the Scotland's very best. Richie Shearer, Robin, John Craig McKinnon too. There's Baxter, Hines and George McLean, they proudly wear the blue. There's Miller, Brandon, Wilson, what better could you want? Plus 70,000 Rangers fans that proudly sing this chant. Oh yes, R-E-N-G-E and R-N-S. In case you didn't catch it, friend, I'll set your mind at rest. Oh yes, R-E-N-G-E and R-N-S. They're the boys in blue of Ibrox, the Scotland's very best. They're the boys in blue of Ibrox, the